Starting on page 14 of Book 3, we come into a section on bar chords, which usually grinds people down a bit. If you've been following these lessons from the beginning, we're closing in on about 200 of them right now. We're a couple of years into your studies if you've been taking the lessons 1 or 2 a week, as you probably should be to get through each one properly. If you're already well advanced and you're not a beginner player, and you drop in and find these lessons and they're useful to you in a one-off situation, then the bar chords might be something you're already familiar with, or there's something you want to learn from scratch right now. If you are learning them from scratch, go back into the playlists, look for bar chords, look for power chords, and beginner chords. We've covered all of this material before, all the way back to our first months of guitar. We've been building up the ideas. But here we're going to do a review of things we've seen before, just because we're running into it in the book. What happens a lot of times is if people haven't spent a lot of time on bar chords right now, this section is quite a chore. Making a bar chord is hard, playing all of the exercises is difficult, and it's not actually something you want to do all at once. Learn the bar chord, then go off and do some more songs. Work on a few of the bar chord exercises, then go off and do another song. Don't try to bite off this whole section all at once. That said, though, I'm going to bite it off all at once here. As I said, this is a review of something you've learned long ago. The things that they want us to know first would be that we have one bar chord based upon the E chord. So if you took your E chord and you looked at all your variations, open E major, remove the pointer and you've got E minor, remove the ring finger and you've got E7, remove the ring finger and the pointer, you've got E minor 7. That chord is based upon the open E string, and everything is built in relation to that. So the first bar chord takes the E and moves it up a fret. So if this is E, you have a B, an E, and a G sharp note. If you move those up a fret, you'd have an F chord. You would have the 5 of the F chord, the C, the F, and the 3, the A note. But you can't use the open strings. If we moved our chord, which was opens, open 2, 2, 1, open, open, and move the notes that we're fretting up a fret, then we've left those opens behind. What we have to do is move the nut of our guitar with our finger. So now we have the E chord moved up to an F. These open notes that went with an E chord have to be moved up in the bar, and they're covered as well. So now instead of open 2, 2, 1, open, open, we have 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1 as an F chord. If you move it again, it's F sharp. You can move that chord then chromatically to any position on the guitar. What you need to know then are the note names on every fret. Again, you've learned that from the very beginning with me. If you don't know that, go back to fretboard knowledge and learn your fretboard that way. The basic idea is that we have E, open, Fs are 1 fret from E, 1st fret. G is 3rd fret, 2 frets above F. 2 frets away from G is A, 2 frets above that is B. Like E's and F's are 1 fret apart, so are B's and C's. So C's at the 8th fret, D at the 10th, 2 frets higher. 2 frets higher, the 12th fret is E. Remember, we started with an open E, and now we're at a 12th fret E. The 12th fret with the double dot marks off your octave. Whatever string you're on, when you get to the 12th fret, you're repeating the name of that string, but an octave higher. In this Hal Leonard book, we just finished chromatics. So although I taught you this early on, you also have just reviewed it in Hal Leonard, that between F and G, you have F sharp. So we actually have power chords or bar chords at every fret. So we have open E, major, F major, F sharp major, also G flat major, G major, A sharp major, also A flat major, A, B flat or A sharp, B, C, C sharp or D flat, and so on. Everything you can do to an E chord, making it minor or dominant 7 or major 7 or minor 7, you can do to your bar chords. Remove the middle finger out of the F, and you have F minor. What you've actually done is not remove a note, but lower it from the note on the 2nd fret to the note on the 1st fret, which is in your bar. If you remove your pinky, you have F7. If you rearrange it so you have a 1, 3, 2, and 2, a major 7. So here's the E chord, moved up a fret and barred and turned into an F chord. As you move that one fret at a time, you move chromatically up the guitar neck. So for instance, when we learned the Andalusian progression, we learned a 5th fret chord, a 3rd fret chord, a 1st fret, and an open. We put a minor bar chord here, major, major. So in your mind, that can be 5, 3, 1, and open, a minor chord, and 3 major chords. But you also have to know it's A minor, 5th fret, G is 3rd, F is 1st, and E is open. A minor, G, F, and E. So use all your songs in your exercises, not only to learn how to play some of these chords, but to know their names. So that's considered the E form bar chord. You need to know the notes on the E string in order to accomplish it. The E is based on the open E string. So any of those bar chords is based in its name on where your pointer finger is. F at the 1st fret, B flat at the 6th, G at the 3rd, etc. So then they give you a couple of exercises on that page. They have a B minor, an A, a G, and an A. Similar to the Andalusian progression, we just go down and then come back up. So at 7th fret, minor chord does not have the middle finger. Major does, so A major at the 5th fret, and G major at the 3rd fret. If you look at your book, they use orchestra slashes. Those are just the hack marks in the bar. As we begin, we can say, okay, that means to play it 4 times, 4 quarter notes, 1 on each slash. As you get better and you run into more music, they'll give you any rhythm to play, and the slashes are just saying, play time. You play a rhythm that fits the song. Sometimes they'll dictate that rhythm for you in the chart, and then just show from then on it's just slashes. Right now, we'll treat them as 4 strums. So first exercise, B minor to A to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3. They say to repeat. Something in this sounds like the Police to me right now. One of the tricks to doing a good bar chord is not to squeeze those frets as hard as you can. What you're trying to do is use the minimum amount of pressure you need, as you would when you play your notes, but especially important in bar chords. Get your thumb behind the hand. You're applying pressure like a clamp. You don't want your thumb sticking out in some strange direction where it's not helping the hand. Some people like their thumb up top and then they squeeze with the palm, but it does work best if you have your thumb located somewhere around the 2nd finger of the chord. The other thing is you don't get your pressure on the chord by squeezing it. You'll have to have some pressure with the thumb to keep you in place, but the pressure comes from 2 different places primarily. One is you actually draw your hand back against the guitar's neck. So I'm not squeezing hard against my thumb, I'm pulling with my arm. You can actually make these chords without using your thumb, just by pulling on the guitar neck a little bit. I don't know if you can see, my thumb's not on there. Now that's tiring as well, holding your hand like this and pulling on it. So there's a compromise between those 2 ideas. Some of it is thumb pressure, some of it is pulling pressure. One other pressure that you use is gravity. What I'm looking for with my hand is not pressing hard into the fretboard, but I'm playing on the strings against the fret wire itself. I'm thinking of a lever here. If that were a cross section of your fret wire and your string comes across here, I don't want to press my hand in the middle of the fret and pull hard on this. Where I put my finger is right into the fret itself, just pulling this string against the fret, almost like I'm wrapping a rope around a post. If you've ever wrestled with a horse or a bull, you'll know if you pull on that rope, they can just yank you all around the yard. But if you twist the rope around a post a little bit, you get all the leverage and the friction of that post to help you out. The same thing is happening here. When I play a note, I'm not pressing hard on the string. I'm sliding my finger up to the fret so that it's actually overlapping here. The pressure is there into the fret itself. And you're getting a little bit of a pull on that string. You want to utilize that as much as possible with your bar chord. That's one of the reasons the guitar points upward a little bit. I get some gravity helping my hand. My thumb will just catch the guitar. As my hand wants to slide down, a little bit of friction between my thumb and finger keeps it from falling off the guitar. Rather than using that to squeeze it, I'm just using it to keep the hand in position. Then the weight of the hand, not only backward away from the neck, but down, sagging into the arm, will pull those fingers right up against the fret. It's like sliding off a roof and coming up to the eaves trough, and just that little bit of pressure of the eaves trough keeps you from hitting the ground. These frets will keep you from sliding down the neck. You're sliding into them, snugging right up to them, using minimal pressure, using the gravity of the guitar pulling you this way against the fret, using your arm to pull you back a little bit, and the thumb to press a little bit, but also just to keep you from sliding off the neck. So then you get minimal pressure throughout your hand. That all said, your hand will still get tired if you play a lot of these, especially as a beginner. You're recruiting a whole bunch of muscles. Your hand has not fine-tuned which muscles are required, so it'll sort of overuse them and overpress, and you're just not in condition yet. So as you play more and more, you'll build up the muscles you need, but you'll also isolate the muscles you actually will be using. The next exercise is using these same chords. We're going to play a G minor 7. So you take a G chord, pull the middle finger out for minor, pull the pinky out for 7, minor 7. That's the 3rd fret. G, A, B, C is at the 8th fret. They want a C minor 7. Back to G minor 7. And up to D7, not minor 7, but D7. It has the middle finger in it. Just like E7 has 2 notes, D7 has 2 fingered notes apart from the bar. So again, they're asking for 4 strums. I'm just going to hit one right now because that sounded pretty. G minor 7, C minor 7, G minor 7, and D7. D7 is the 5 that lands you back on G. The next one is a classic progression. This is your doo-wop progression. C major at the 8th fret, A minor, the relative minor, at the 5th fret, no middle finger, F major, the 4 chord, G major, in this example G7, no pinky, and back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, 1st fret, G, 3rd fret, C8, A minor at the 5th, F, G, and C. So that is the E form bar chord and the exercises. On the next page, we have the A form. The theory is exactly the same, because the A chord has an open A string as the bass, these 3 fretted notes, and the open E string. If we move that chord 1 fret higher, we can bar what would have been open in A at the 1st fret. And that's a B flat or an A sharp. Again, if you've been doing these lessons, you've known this for years now. Your B major chord is at the 2nd fret. B minor looks like an A minor, where you've removed the ring finger, turned the chord around so that note goes down a fret. So the minor chord on the 5th string start, the 5th string root of a B minor, has the same fingering that we saw in the major chord on the low string. There's major with the middle finger, B minor with the middle finger. B minor 7, no pinky. B7, the pinky moves to the 2nd string. So we have 2, 4, 2 in the bar, 4 with the pinky, 2 in the bar. That equates to this A, open 2, open 2, open. So that's how they'll look on the 5th string start. They're based on the A chord. You have to know the notes on your A string as well. So B's and C's are close together, E's and F's are close together. Everything else is 2 frets. So A to B is 2 frets, C is close to B, so it's 3rd. 2 frets to D at the 5th, 2 frets to E at the 7th, 1 fret to F, another fret to F sharp if you like, that 2nd fret to G, and A is the octave at the 12th fret of the open string. So the exercises there will use the 5th string chords. The first exercise has C at the 3rd fret, 3, 5, 5, 5, and 3. Notice that's the same as the C we had on the other set of strings at 8. So you have your option where you want to get these chords. In this case, they're going to go out of key. They're going to go from C to its 3 chord, the E7, very jazzy or Tin Pan Alley blues, to F major, and to G. This chord is a little tricky to get these 3 fingers in there and leave the first string open. It's not the easiest and fastest chord for me. A lot of times I won't do this version, but for this exercise we'll work on it. C to the 7th fret, E7, very jazzy, F, and G. Also sounds like soul music. Just to point out, if these 3 fingers don't align for you in there easily, and you want to switch them around to get the same frets with a different combination of fingers, even one of the fingers barring a couple of strings, you can do that as well. People will always ask me, is this okay? Is that okay? Yeah, whatever gets that chord made is okay. You'll find that there are times where one way will work better than another though. The next example is going to use some chromaticism. It's going to use D at the 5th fret, 5th fret chord to E minor 7, the 2 chord, to F sharp minor 7 at the 9th fret, also a minor chord, it's the 3 chord, back to E minor, D major, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, E minor 7, and D. The next example gives you a flat 3 in the key of D, that's the F chord, and a flat 7, the C chord. So we have D, F. In 80s rock, you would hear this a lot in progressive music. You have a G, D, and the C. Already I'm tired of playing all these notes here. In the example, they don't have us playing the first string, so I'm not going to carefully place these 3 fingers and leave the first string under my bar now. I'm going to catch these 3 notes with another bar and just not play the first string. So we have D, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, then G, F, then D to F again, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. D, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, D and F and C, D and F, G to F, D and F, C. I'm going to leave it at that. I think that went way too long already. After that, we have 2 more pages of bar chord exercises. As I said, they get a little bit boring for people. They get a little bit hard if you haven't done a lot of bar chords before, and tiring. So we're not going to try in your practice to go sequentially through every single exercise until they're mastered and then finally move on. What you would be doing is sampling a couple of these. While you work on them, go do something else. Then next week, do a couple more while you do something else. Try to think of that throughout your guitar life, or all your life really, is you don't want to sit on one idea and just obsessively slave over it at the expense of all the others. The more you spread out and the more you touch a lot of bases, the better you are at each. That said, if you're really obsessed with it, if you're in the zone and really enjoy working on it and you're accomplishing a lot, stay there as long as you want, but don't force yourself to when you're not comfortable. Alright, let's edit that down and have a good one. See you guys.